after we will translate.
Ok. Attenzione.
Just need to sing the stuff.
Hello, Andrea.
Hello.
Today we are together with Andrea Marcato. He is from Italy, and he is third fastest guy in the world who did longest distance ever, like 5,000 kilometers. And I wanted to ask first, how many people run this race, 3,100 miles? Because this is longest distance which you did a few weeks ago. And how many people did? How many people finished? This is like first question.
I guess more or less under 49, under 50 people run the race since 1997. That was the first edition, and I guess only 49 finisher, something like this, more or less.
And you came from New York. This race is in New York. And can you explain a little bit about the race, people to know what's happened there and how it's everything?
The race is very, very special, and it takes place around a block. It's a little bit more than half a mile course. That means 850 meters, something like this. And yeah, you go on the whole day long, and you switch direction day in and day out. And the cutoff limit is 52 days to run almost 5,000 kilometers. And the distance is 3,100 miles, and which is approximately the distance between California and New York Island. So you just cross the whole America. If you consider the whole race is just like crossing all America from coast to coast.
Mm-hmm.
But we run in a loop just for logistic reason, and you know, we have to feed ourselves and take rest and so on.
And you say start it's morning, and every day you start and finish.
Yes.
You have just few hours for the sleeping.
Yes, the race started every day at 6 o'clock, and it goes on till midnight, and then there is the rest period from midnight till 6, so people cannot run and we have to rest, and then the day after is again 6 a.m. Midnight.
It means for 52 days you have just 6 hours for the rest.
Yes.
It means not even not 6 hours for the sleeping, but less, because in these hours you have some.
It is less because definitely you have to go home and take a shower, do some stretching and recovery exercise, and take care of your feet and so on. So you have much less than 6 hours sleep. Anyway, if people want, and they can decide to have small breaks during the day, so you can sleep a little bit during the day also.
Can you say about your some records or some country where you run? Because you are also not just a runner, but you are also a swimmer.
Yes, I'm. Let's say I'm racing in running and swimming. I like this ultra distance events, both in running and in swimming. Just before the race, I swam the Zurich Lake. From Rapperswil to Zurich is 26 kilometers, and normally I race. I've been racing many times on the 24-hour race, running race, and I just go mostly in Europe, in different countries, to have such kind of races, and I really enjoy it. I like to travel, to see new places, and beside the running, it's also a nice way to see different countries and different places. Records, I have no official records basically.
No, your personal records for
yes.
24 hours, for 48,
yes.
or something like 6 days, because you have many races.
Yes. Okay, I have the Italian age category record for the 6-day race, which is like 740 kilometers, something like this.
In 6 days, more than 700 kilometers.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
It's not like super fast. It is, I mean, for Italian standard, maybe it's okay, but it's not super fast.
And 10-day race?
10-day race, I have more than 1,000 kilometers, but this is just my own performance. It's no record at all. I have the Italian record for the 1,000 mile. This I know. I have 13 days and few hours. I don't remember it clearly. So yeah, I have the Italian record for the 1,000 mile.
And swimmer? In the swim?
Swimming, I did before COVID. I did my own, let's say, attempt to some kind of Guinness record. I swam for 1 week in a pool, and then I swam like 200 kilometers. 200 kilometers swimming.
But you say about record, like some not just a personal record, but this is
no
Guinness.
Okay, it started as a personal record, so I wanted to swim more than 200 kilometers and then someone in 1 week, yes. So later on, someone contacted the committee from the Guinness World Record, and they said that nobody so far was swimming for 1 week in the pool, and so they set a record, a world record, at 2,050 kilometers. But it was just a decision among the referees that they decided this could be potentially a world standard. In reality, nobody ever did it. They just gave me, if I want to try again, this attempt to swim.
It means in the future you can...
In the future, maybe it can be possible. So the main problem was the chlor in that period.
Running, it's your passion, or you need to do, or you must to do, or how it's your... why?
Definitely running, it's a passion. I'm not a professional runner. I have a regular job. I work 40 hours a week, so it's just a passion. I cultivate it a lot, so whenever I have the time, I go out to run and so on, and I had the love for the ultra distance event. This is my main.
Okay, I understand. Running can be passion. You can run 2-3 times per week, but to do ultra distance, why? This is like longest distance. This is not because people should understand it's in 5,000 kilometers. You cannot go just every time in the good mood, and because it's 50 something day, or for you was fastest was 42 days. It's different period. It's also morning and evening and every day, all day, just running. Why?
It is something that I was building along the years. It is not that one day I woke up in the morning and then I said, okay, let's go to run the longest distance in the world. No, it was not like this. It's about, I would say, almost 20 years now since I ran my first ultra distance events, and I was building up along the years. It started with 12-hour race, then 24-hour race, 48-hour race, 6-day race, 2-time 10-day race, and finally I did this, which is the longest distance.
This is not next question, but now it's when come first thought about longest distance, and which
probably I've heard about the race probably 20 years ago, but it was not. I didn't plan to run the race. It was just a kind of dream somehow.
You start to dreams 20.
No. I said I knew.
You knew.
I read it somewhere, or people told me that this race was existing. So it was 20 years ago, but I didn't plan to run it, or at that time I didn't think I had the capacity also, to be sincere.
No, but in my case, when I ran first time 24 hours, when I finish 24 hours, I decide next year I come the same here and to do 48-hour race. Even if I was like kaput or dead, when it comes first idea, I should go or I want to go. How long time before the race, the first race? Because first race 3,100 was in 2020.
Yes. So it was in 2018 I ran my first 10-day race, and I had a good result, like with not so much training, I have to say. So I saw that I had the same pace which was required to finish the race, this 3100 mile race, which is the minimum pace is 60 miles a day to finish the race within the cutoff.
It means just 2 years before the start.
Yes.
You did 10-day race and you had, but this was first 10-day race.
Yes.
Your standard in 2018.
Yes.
Wow.
I did 2 times the 10-day race. 2018 I did my first, and 2019 I did the second, and then 2020 there was a COVID issue, so there was no 10-day race, but there was a small edition of the 3100 mile race in Salzburg in Austria.
And now about running, you say this is your passion. This is helping also for the life, during the normal life?
Definitely, it helps a lot.
I mean the long distance, not just running. Because we know running is helping a lot, but what is helping even when you run many days? How can this help? Because you need to jump from your life to go in I don't know which country, very far, to go to across the ocean to run 10 days. It means you need to not to go to holiday or to take a rest, but you go and you it's like people can say this is you lose time. And
so these ultra distance events they help a lot also in the regular life. In my job, for example, or you have more energy, more endurance, you can work longer, and you don't get like mentally tired or something like this. Beside the running, it helps a lot. Your psychological profile gets better somehow. You get stronger. You get more sharp somehow. So you can endure the challenges also in the outer life.
But people say to go to run, it need this long distance. You need to have good thinking, or you need to be calm. But you say like opposite. Running, it's helping to be more quiet and more disciplined. Or it's helping both sides, or
of course, both way it works definitely. In my case, it's more, let's say, my running helped me in my regular life.
Why?
Because I can calm the mind, and normally I think a lot, or I get kind of this emotional burst, or I get angry or whatever. And when I run a lot, I get more peaceful. Everything looks clear, and I can concentrate better. So definitely my running helped my outer life. It's also true the opposite, that to be there, to run for such a long distance, you need to have, like, your outer life should be kind of fixed and poised. You must have some poise and some peace there.
It's interesting because I see you are running. You're running it sometimes midnight or in the morning. Sometimes when it's very cold outside, and this is for me it's interesting. This is your special training. It's like or it's spontaneous, or how you train for the long distance.
Yeah, exactly. This I have to say, I don't follow a regular training plan somehow. It's more a lifestyle somehow. When I try to feel it within, when I should go out to run, or when I have the time, when I don't have to work, and so on. And I just go. I go more with the feeling, especially in the last few years, I drop any Garmin or any training schedule. I really try to feel the body, the energy of the body, and to feel which is the best time during the day where I can go out to train. And sometimes it's late in the night, it works, or very early in the morning, or during my lunch break. Whenever I feel that my energy is, I have the peak of energy, then I go out to train. It's more effective in my case.
You say it's like a lifestyle.
It is, absolutely.
It means you don't have schedule, and it's more like a feeling, and you have some time between work or something else, you just jump out and run.
Yes, especially in the last few years I said that no, I go out like with a feeling, and it's not only about running. Luckily I am also relatively good swimmer somehow, or I like to go to the gym. We have a small gym in our enterprise, and I can train quite effectively because, let's say, suppose I am tired because I was running a long distance the day before, and the next day, instead of recovering or just lying down, I go swimming. So anyway, it's a constant training somehow. And when I'm tired with the swimming, I just go to the gym and lift some weights and so on, or do stretching, hatha yoga, whatever. It's a lifestyle. It comes really spontaneously. I switch very often activities. It's not only about running.
Professional runners or sport people, usually he didn't work, he just make a sport.
Yes.
But you say about work, it means you also working. How many hours?
I have a regular job. Normally I work like 40 hours a week. Sometimes a little bit less if I can work faster. And yeah, I feel in my case it's good to have a balanced life. I don't know if I could be like just an athlete or just training professionally for running or whatever. I guess it's good to have a balanced life. I really enjoy this kind of things, the multi-days event and so on. But I also feel, you know, you need to support yourself, and if you're not super good, then you have to work.
If you are not super good, but in this case you are super good, because if you are third fastest in the longest race, this is like world class. Who is paying the? You say you go to different events or different like 24 hours and multi-days. Who is paying this to go? Because you need to pay also to participate.
Yes, of course. So luckily I work in Switzerland, so the salary is a little bit higher than European standard. And second thing, also at my job, the boss of the company kind of support me. Sometimes he support my sport activities, and yes, it works like this. If I do some good result, they put me on the website, or I am on the Facebook page of the company. So they get back some image, some good image for the company that they can utilize for some business reason. So it's a win-win agreement, and I'm happy with it so far.
But this is just, I think, last race.
Yes.
Or races, few races, not before. It means every time you need to pay, you need to take money, because no other sponsors or...
it is, as I said, the company helped me, and we have this agreement since quite a few years, and many times I can place in 24-hour race, or just be the first 3 or whatever, or I go to the newspaper because I did some special swimming event or whatever, and yeah, the boss like it and people are inspired, so they help me also. They support me financially.
Super. About food,
Mm-hmm.
I know you are not eating meat.
I am vegetarian.
You are vegetarian.
Yes.
And people should know or should understand how it's possible. You need to have power and strength.
Yes, I would say it's pretty much personal. In my case, again, I'm not vegetarian since 1 year or 2 years. It's almost 20 years. So I guess the body gets used to this kind of special nutrition, and I'm really happy with it. I feel lighter and more energetic somehow than when I used to eat meat. So this is what works for me. But again, for other people, maybe it works something else. I know pretty much for sure that many endurance athletes nowadays, they have a vegetarian based diet or even vegan based diet. So I guess it works to diminish the inflammation of the body. So in endurance sport, one of the main problem that you get is just the body gets the muscle gets sore and you get inflamed and so on. And with the vegetarian diet or vegan diet, you can diminish this problem and you can recover faster.
And also I know in that race, this longest race, many person is vegetarian.
Yes, I think this is 5 people out of 7. This year 5 people out of 7, something like this.
It means more than 60 or 70%.
Yes, yes.
How many? Which quality have for you think it's good to have when you go for this long distance, for the many day, like few day race or longest race?
Definitely for the multi-days event, especially, you need a lot of patience.
Patience?
Yes. You must, especially when you start. One of the main problems, everybody is very enthusiastic at the start, and then people try. Normally, they push a little bit too much, and then they pay a lot the day after. So when you start, in my opinion, you really have to be really super calm and super patient. You shouldn't think about the final day or whatever, but you just have to take day by day. And in the end, in my case, it works. Just relax and forget about finishing the race, but just have patience that it's like this, and you have just to think about day by day. That's it.
One quality is passion.
Yes.
You think if I have passion, I can go for multi-days? Which other quality is good to have? Which quality helps you?
The quality that helps me a lot is that I learned never to get upset with my performance, no matter what. So many times during the multi-days event, you get totally crashed, and I really mean totally crashed, in a way that maybe you have to walk for a few days, or something goes wrong, or you get a small injury, or you get totally sore. You can energetically, you are very down or very low. So when you face this challenge, it helped me a lot. Again, never to get upset and just keep going, no matter what. You shouldn't be angry at yourself because you are not doing as well as you think you could do. So accept anything, even if you are super slow, you have to accept it. And then later on, it just passes. You will see after a few days, the energy comes back and you feel better and you can run again. But if you get upset, if you get disappointed with yourself, then you make it worse and worse. I saw it many times also with the other runners. They cannot accept the fact that for a while they have to go slower than what they think. But I can accept, so I'm happy.
Wow. How many pair of shoes you have in the longest race?
Yes, this edition I used 15 pair of shoes.
15?
15, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot, but...
Every 3 days?
Not really. It was, in a way, I did the first half part of the race. I used only 3 pair of shoes, and the second part it was like 12. So yeah, and there is a reason. Because the body the more the race goes on, the body gets more and more sensitive somehow, and maybe your feet grows a little bit, and you are more prone to small injuries or whatever. And I really prefer to run every 2 or 3 days with a new pair of shoes. I really felt the difference. Maybe it's only a half mile a day improvement, but at the end it really helped me. So I got a 3rd place for just 1 minute and 20 seconds. So that was a good choice to switch shoes very often.
I heard one story, one runner from that race saying, look, we are 2 runners, we are in the same place, we live, like we sleeping during the race. It's one place when you can sleep or to stay a little bit. And I have table with full of everything, like food and vitamins and some. And Andrea's table, just oil, like olive oil.
Yes, it is.
How it's possible? And why is this different?
Yes. Yeah, it is. It's something that I learned along the year in my multe days. Let's call it career. It is not, but
it is. But it is.
Okay, it is. I learned not to be too much attached to supplements or vitamins. I mean, I use them, but again, I try to rely most of the time on my own physical sensation, and I feel the energy comes from within me. I don't need much outer things to improve my performance or whatever. So I'm really concentrated on the energy inside. And then I like olive oil. So they told me that the Yannis Kouros was drinking from the olive oil bottle, so it inspired me a lot, and I like it somehow. So I try to keep it as simple as possible. So I don't want to think that if I take the vitamin C, then I can run faster. If I don't take it, the whole world collapses. No, the energy comes from within me, and the source is inside. So.
Super. You said before about when you go in that point when you are dead or kaput, how you, because after you know this can be morning, this can be in the lunchtime, and you need to continue. How to continue?
Yeah, first of all, I learned along the years to avoid to enter into this crashing mood somehow. And
crashing mood?
Yes. I mean, no, one of the reasons why you get smashed, you get too much sore or energetically low is always the same. Consciously or unconsciously, people push too much. You don't realize, and you go a little bit faster one day, and then the day after you have to pay. You just go, you have to walk or go very, very, very slow. Anyway, when I am there, it still happens. I do 3 things. The first thing, I try to eat. Many times it's just something. First, I try to identify if the problem is body-wise or psychological. This is also a good point. But many times, in my case, it's body-related. So maybe I didn't eat enough, or I didn't drink enough. So I try to replenish my system. Like I eat food, I drink a lot. So that's the first thing. And then if the energy doesn't come back pretty soon, let's say in 1 or 2 hours, then I take small rest. Maybe I'm not rested enough, so the body is kind of tired from too many miles, or from the day before I was pushing too much and so on. So I try to take breaks. I try to have a nap or sleep a little bit. And the third thing, which is the most important, I just pray. I really try to inwardly to overcome, to try to invoke somehow like a superior power or what I think is, let's say, my soul or my spiritual part, and then I try to connect with it and to understand the problem, and the same to go over it. Like faith helps a lot in this case. Yeah.
And you said about praying, and so which is more important in the race? Physical, mind, energetical, or which part of you it's helping you?
No, in this kind of races, in a multi-days event, definitely the mind, in my opinion, is the most important thing. If you have like a really strong mindset, you can overcome many difficulties. Of course, you need the body needs to be strong, and you need to be trained. But most of the problem, they come from the mind, because the mind get bored, the mind get upset, and you think the race never end, and you get tired. So many things can be solved if you can calm the mind and focus and be focused. So I would say mental part is like 70%, and body part probably is 30%. This is my own personal opinion.
You said about mind, and I think when people go to such a race, he compare, or he wanted to win or something like this. This also have influence for the mind, or how you take this competitive between you and other people.
No, it's very good to have a competitive spirit. Definitely, it's very good. At the same time, it can be it can be the reason why you don't perform. So at the beginning, everybody is kind of competing, but let's say if it is in the shorter race, in a marathon, let's say, or so. You can compete with other, and it's fine. If you feel you are kind of losing a little bit time on your kilometer, or you are slower a little bit, anyway you see the end of the race, so you slow down a little bit and you can finish the race. But in multi-days event, if you start to compete and you start not to perform as you should, then the finish line is so far off that you get totally mentally crashed. So you have to be very careful. It's good to compete, but not in a way that if the other guys goes a little bit farther than you, then you are psychologically very, very down, and it can go on and on because the gap increase day by day. So I would say compete, but not too much. have your own goal, and if it happens, you can compete at the very last week or the very last part of the race. This makes sense because the body is already used to the race, and then you can, in a way, challenge someone, or if they are close to you. But if you start in the very beginning, it can be extremely dangerous, especially for your performance can be not so good as you think. So.
Or like in your case, you compete with just the last day, or last hour, or last few minutes.
No, in my case, I didn't compete with opponents because they were a little bit far behind. But they told me, I had people which were updating me regularly, and then they told me the third place was very close, so I had a goal somehow. So luckily, on the very last day, I managed to to get the third place just by 1 minute 20 seconds.
About this 1 minute 20 seconds, you before our interview, you calculate how many seconds per day.
It's not even 2 seconds a day, something like that.
It means you was faster than their previous, like fourth place, just because of 2 seconds per day.
Yes, yes. Timing is a very, very important thing in this kind of multi-days event. Every second really counts. And I mean, it's an average. It's not 2 seconds a day, but I just want to say that everything you do in the race, it accumulates much more, and then at the end it can be like few hours more or less if you do like.
It means if you do some good stuff,
exactly,
it's accumulating and you have more like speed or power.
Exactly,
or
yeah.
Good mood. And
No, but if you think just about you decide to have a break during the race, or I was taking like 3 or 4 times 10-minute breaks, and my helper asked me, he said, you want to do 15? I said, no. So in the end we agreed for 11 minutes. So we were deciding whether to have 11 minute or 10-minute breaks. And it looks totally crazy, but at the end, if you see this 1 minute 20 seconds in the whole race, it makes sense somehow. So whatever your decision is, it can affect the race very much, especially at the end of the race, you will see.
During this race you had some problem, and after this problem, people say you need to rest more or to make something different. And you decide to be faster, you need to recover, you need to make shorter this break, or even not so many breaks per day, or something like this. For me it was very strange, because you need to, your body needs more rest.
Yes.
And you say, okay, let's do less rest because.
No, as I said, when you get some problem, I had for a few days I couldn't do more than 70 miles a day, which was I consider to be my standard. And immediately when there is some problem, immediately you have to figure it out. You have to look at what you do during the day and find out what is wrong. And normally, I mean, in my case, it was not what I was doing during the day. It was my bedtime routine. So whenever the race stops at midnight, you go home, and somehow every runner, they have their own routine. Maybe you do a little bit stretching, or you take a hot shower, you use Epsom salt for your feet, whatever. In my case, I was doing too much stretching, we figured out, and which was bad. During the day, my muscles, they were not ready for running, they were too relaxed. So I was lucky to have...
Too relaxed?
Yes.
For what
because when you stretch too much, I mean, in this kind of race, the body is already super loose, so you don't need to stretch that much. This is what I learned this year. I was stretching a lot, and when you stretch a lot, you send a message to the muscle to relax, basically. And then during the day, I couldn't, the muscles, they were not ready somehow. I was overstretching. Such thing exists.
In some race like this, you go for just the simplest thing to do. Just sleeping, just eating, just few like standard, like minimum or something like this. The same minimum you say about before this table. How it's possible when you have this kind of minimum to have like this kind of distance? Because it's very people understanding if you want to do something very big, you need to have more to get more food, but you have less food. More feet or more stretching, it's less. It's working opposite, I think.
Yes. Yeah, that's a very interesting question, and especially this year, I try to adopt the so-called it's called perpetual motion. So it's a strategy that you use in the multi-day race to be all the time on the course. So you don't care so much about the food they give you, or about the stretching you have to do, or recovery time. But just the main goal is to be all the time on the course, and always to do the lap, and always being around. And even if you are very slow at the end of the day, maybe you can accumulate more miles than people who are faster. For example, one runner, the second runner was actually faster than me, and I was much slow.
Mm-hmm.
But since I was all the time running around the lap, he was faster, but he was taking breaks. So at the end of the day, I had more miles because I was continuously going. And yeah, the danger when you have too much food around, or too much supplements, or too much program for your stretching.
It's disturbing.
Yes, sometimes less is more. Let's say, the more minimalistic you are, the better. But this works for me in my specific case.
Some story, funny story.
Funny story. Yeah, it's about probably it's about the ego or the pride of the runners. So basically, in this race, you always run in a loop, and you know, it's never nice when someone overtake you, pass you.
Okay.
So yeah, there were some runner. I don't say who, but I don't say the name. But so normally sometimes they were faster than me, but I didn't care. I had my own schedule and so on. So I went on, but sometimes they got tired or they had to rest and so on. So it was me that I was faster than them, and then immediately they hear that I am coming, and then they just start to run faster. Although I was like 300 miles ahead, but somehow they couldn't accept the fact that just for one lap I was faster. So even they were eating, and then they hear me coming, and they throw the food, and then they start to run. Again, I had like 500 kilometers more, so there was no need to. But somehow that was the pride makes these things.
About story with when you fly, you had some story not to be there, or
yeah, it was the biggest problem was to be at the race. It was not the race itself; it was to be there at the race. In my case, so because of COVID, there was this ban of the flight to America. So from Europe you couldn't fly. You could fly only from non-Schengen country. So I had to go to Bulgaria.
yeah.
So I got a flight from Bulgaria to New York, not a direct flight, but it was via Istanbul in Turkey. And when I was in Istanbul, so first they let me fly to Istanbul, and then the second flight, Istanbul, New York, they told me I couldn't fly because there was some issue with my visa, and something was wrong somehow. So they stopped my ESTA. So they just told me, sorry, you can't go. And then I say, really? And then I say, yeah. They insisted, no, you cannot go. And then I say, why did you let me fly to Istanbul? And then anyway, so I flew back to Bulgaria, and then I felt I should be at the race anyway. So I try again.
It's not important what he says.
It's not important what I say. So I tried again, and I bought another flight to New York via Qatar, via Doha. That was the connecting flight. And luckily, there also they wanted to stop me. They said the same, there's a problem with your visa and so on. But somehow I convinced them like to let me go, and then they told me, okay, we let you fly, but anyway they will send you back. And luckily it was not like this. I was 1 hour in security control in JFK airport. And somehow they checked all my visa and so on, and they saw that yes, there was a mistake somehow. So I got a visa on the spot there at JFK.
You say about mistake, which mistake?
No, okay, I had a valid visa, an ESTA visa. It lasts 90 days, and it was approved. But the problem is that before, like 2 months before, I applied for another visa through the embassy, to the American embassy. So the American embassy in Switzerland, in Bern, they gave me an appointment to confirm this visa. But the appointment was already it was too late, so the race was already started. So I couldn't go there, and I applied for another visa, for the ESTA.
You had
So
visa.
I had 2 visa on the go. So on the system, it shows that there is some conflict somehow. You cannot apply for 2 visa at the same time.
Which trauma you have if you have some
Which?
trauma or some bad during the race, during the 43 days, 42 and something.
You mean physical or?
Yeah. Maybe physical, maybe not physical. Some serious who can stop you not to go.
No, mainly I am quite lucky somehow. The body is quite strong somehow. Many times I got so-called like small injuries, like on my ankle or shin splint or whatever, the calf, and it was, it's a little bit bothering you, but at the same time I just try to run. I just run over it, and then at the end of the day I think about the trauma or the problem. I don't try to fix it during the race, because I know if you stop to take care, then it never ends somehow. So I always manage to go at the end of the day, and then in the night I take care.
You like, okay, later.
Later on, yeah. Unless it is really something bad, but luckily it was just minor things, so I could finish the day and then take care of it.
And last day was, I calculated a few days before, and you need to have like 75 miles per day to finish in this 43 days.
Before for this?
Before, finish the 43 days. And I see this last few days, you have 74. It means 1 mile for the last day will be.
Yes.
Second day again, 74. Again, 1 mile plus. And one third day was also 74. I say, okay, I don't know if it's possible to do the last day 77, because last 3 days you did 74. It means 3 mile plus. This is a lot. You say sometimes it's half mile, very difficult to do 1 lap more.
Yes.
How it's and when somebody asks me, it's possible to do because it was just 1 day. I say it's not possible. Just if it's some miracle. And after I heard some story about rainbow, and if you can say a few words about last day, how it happened.
Yes, the last day was very special, and no, what I want to say is that people think that in such race you can manage, you can calculate how many miles you should do. In reality, it's not like a marathon that you are pacing yourself with your Garmin and so on. In my case, it was like a fight day by day, so I couldn't do physically 74 miles. The last 3 days was the maximum I could give, so that was what I gave. Last day was very special. There was a rainbow in the evening. It was a very special day, and normally the last day there is some extra energy is coming. Like you feel the goal is very close, and you can push more somehow. So, and then people are coming and they are encouraging you. There is a lot of enthusiasm, so I could push more the last day, and then I finished before the midnight.
Super. You say before about praying, so how it's going sport and spirituality?
Yes, I practice meditation since 20 years, meditation and concentration, and they help me a lot. I mean, mainly I try to rely on myself, on my own energy, my own mindset and so on. When everything collapses, then I go for the spiritual side, so I think it can help also.
When everything is collapsed?
Yes, because again, as I said, first of all, I try to rely on my own training, on my own mindset and so on. And if this doesn't work, then you go for the so-called spiritual side, or you try to invoke a different kind of energy or whatever. But this is about belief and faith, so it's not for everybody. it works for me.
About hero, for me, you are like a hero. Who is hero for you, and which person you can see like example?
You mean in the sport world, or for example?
Sometimes it's not in the sport world. You can see some people doing in other direction, but
yes,
can be the same.
Well, for me, one name which come to my mind as the ideal hero was Muhammad Ali, for example. I mean,
Why?
He's a boxer. It's not my sport, but somehow I can perceive like in his person, like in his the way he was gazing at people, or the way he stands, you feel this kind of heroic feeling. So plus what he did, just because of the sports that he was doing, probably he inspired many people to do other changes in their own life, because sport, okay, I'm running, I'm inspiring people and so on, but it's not all. Not everybody can run 5,000 because for many reasons they have family, or they cannot train, or whatever, or they simply cannot do it somehow. But the most important thing is to bring the idea, to inspire people that they can do something very big in other field of life, whatever the field is. Can be business, can be social improvement, whatever, charity program. So again, I said it's not only about running or sports, it's about the whole life. And in my case, Muhammad Ali inspired people also in their own life to be better, and to have a dream, to dream bigger.
Also, his philosophy, like he every time speaking like a person who knows not just box, but
yes, he refused to go to Vietnam War and so on. He was convicted because of this, and they stopped his fight and so on. But somehow he stand for himself. He knew what was good inside his heart, and then he did it. He didn't care for the money or what people would think.
How many you was in different races with different people, and you see people running like here on where is the lake or where is the river, and also during the long races. How you think? How many people, like simple people or ordinary people, can do such a race, like a multi-day or 24 hours ultra? Like percentage, how much people can, because people don't want it to go longer because he don't have, he is not convinced I can. If you see.
Yes, what I think personally, it's this endurance sport. It's more for everybody. Let's say not everybody has such intensity or such speed to, I don't know, to be a world-class sprinter or whatever. But in the endurance, you can somehow compensate the body capacity. You can compensate it with the mind or with your own attitude. So I guess most people they have more chance to become endurance athlete somehow. And it's very common now in the last few years. Many people are doing long distances and so on. Maybe they are not like super successful, but they are happy and they can do good way. I mean, 5,000 is very, very long, but many people
I mean ultra, because ultra
yes,
is more than